In this era of rapidly advancing technology, humanity seems to be living in two parallel worlds, the physical world and the digital world. Technology has opened new horizons, enabling instant connections, effortless access to knowledge, and experiences that were once unimaginable. Yet, this very technology has also introduced unprecedented spiritual challenges, as distractions grow stronger and people are increasingly caught in the endless vortex of information and fleeting emotions displayed on screens. People can spend hours in front of a screen, yet struggle to find even a moment to reflect on themselves. They can know what is happening on the other side of the planet within seconds, yet remain unaware of where their own minds are drifting. Technology has brought humanity closer in terms of physical distance but, at the same time, has pulled them further apart in terms of true spiritual connection. In this context, a profound question arises: how can we embrace the benefits of technology without becoming enslaved by it? How do we avoid being swept away by the digital current while maintaining mindfulness and inner peace? This is not just an individual concern but a challenge of our time. Buddhism, with its deep teachings on mindfulness, wisdom, and letting go, may hold the key to finding a balance between the digital life and the spiritual life. The Buddha did not reject the development of the world, nor did he advise people to abandon society in search of peace in remote forests. Instead, he taught that if our minds remain steady and clear, we can live in peace no matter where we are or what circumstances we face. Technology, like any other tool in life, is not inherently a problem. The real issue lies in how we use it. So, what path allows us to live mindfully in the age of technology? How can we avoid being bound by technology while still using it wisely? Let us embark on this journey of exploration through the following chapters. Technology is an inseparable part of modern life. It opens up countless opportunities for learning, connection, and development, but it also contains hidden traps that can lead people into delusion, causing them to lose themselves. Technology, in and of itself, is neither good nor bad. It is merely a tool, a means. It is how we use it that determines whether it becomes a path to liberation or a source of bondage. In Buddhist scriptures, an essential principle is often emphasized: the middle way. Everything in this world has two sides, nothing is entirely good or entirely evil. It all depends on how we interact with it. Technology is no exception. When used correctly, it can be a powerful means for spreading the Dharma, connecting communities, and bringing many benefits to life. But when abused, it can become a chain that binds the mind, causing people to lose mindfulness and inner peace. Technology today is evolving at an unprecedented pace. Within just a few decades, humanity has entered an era of social media, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and countless other advancements. Without mindfulness, people can easily be swept away by the endless cycle of information, entertainment, and hidden temptations that technology presents. Platforms such as social media, entertainment apps, and video games, instead of serving as tools for connection and learning, can become instruments that feed craving, anger, and ignorance. One of the greatest harms of technology when used without mindfulness is that it creates constant distraction. Phone notifications, endless news updates, and captivating entertainment content easily scatter the mind. Concentration, a precious quality necessary for cultivating wisdom, is gradually eroded. The Buddha once taught, "A mind that is restless like a wild horse, uncontrollable, cannot attain true wisdom." On the other hand, a mind that is steady, when distracted by frivolous matters, is like a still lake, capable of reflecting all things clearly. When people are constantly distracted by technology, they lose the ability to live fully in the present moment. They become anxious, restless, and easily drawn into negative emotions such as jealousy, anger, and desire. Seeing glamorous images on social media, they fall into the trap of comparison, feeling dissatisfied with their own lives. Engaging in meaningless online debates, they are quick to anger, losing their inner peace. Beyond causing distraction, technology also nurtures attachment, one of the primary causes of suffering according to Buddhist teachings. In the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha taught, 1. Dukkha, the truth of suffering. 2. Samudaya, the cause of suffering. 3. Nirodha, the cessation of suffering. 4. Magga, the path to the cessation of suffering. One of the main causes of suffering is attachment to pleasure, to things that bring temporary comfort. Modern technology is designed to encourage this attachment. The algorithms of social media, video games, and entertainment platforms are all engineered to keep users engaged for as long as possible. The more people use them, the harder it becomes to let go. For example, many people have the habit of checking their phones constantly, even when there is no real need. Each new notification brings a small thrill, a moment of curiosity. But this very attachment makes the mind restless, unable to relax, unable to sit still without doing something. In the scriptures, the Buddha compared the human mind to a monkey, constantly jumping from one branch to another. When untrained, the mind is easily drawn toward external stimuli, unable to be still. Technology, when used without mindfulness, only makes this monkey mind more hyperactive, never allowing it to rest. One of the saddest consequences of technological overuse is that people gradually lose connection with themselves. When caught up in news feeds and the stories of others, they spend little time listening to their own hearts, reflecting on their own being. True happiness does not come from external sources, it arises from inner peace. When people do not take time to return to themselves, they often feel empty and unsettled. They seek fulfillment through digital content, but this only brings temporary satisfaction. It never truly leads to lasting peace. In Buddhist tradition, an essential practice for reconnecting with oneself is meditation. When we meditate, we let go of all distractions and simply observe the breath, feeling our own presence. This is a method that helps restore peace, allowing us to clearly recognize our emotions without being caught in the whirlpool of technology. So, how can we use technology mindfully, ensuring it does not become a trap? 1. Be proactive, not passive. Use technology with awareness, instead of letting it control you. Before picking up your phone, ask yourself, do I really need to do this, or is it just a habit? 2. Set time limits. Avoid letting technology consume too much of your time. Establish boundaries, such as not using your phone before bed or setting aside time each day to completely disconnect. 3. Practice mindfulness. When using technology, be fully present with it. If reading the news, read attentively instead of letting your mind wander. If watching content, ask yourself, is this truly beneficial for me? 4. Make time to return to yourself. Each day, set aside time for meditation or simply sitting in stillness, doing nothing. This helps clear the mind, preventing it from being pulled into the endless cycle of technology. Technology is a tool, but if used without mindfulness, it can become a trap. Only by using it with awareness can we reap its benefits without losing ourselves. Mindfulness is a fundamental principle in the Buddhist teachings, a key that unlocks awareness and wisdom, helping one break free from the cycle of ignorance and suffering. It is not merely a meditation technique but a guiding light for living with clarity and presence in everyday life. When speaking of mindfulness, we refer not just to simple attention but to a state of clear awareness, fully recognizing the movements of body and mind without being carried away by delusions, without being controlled by the past or the future. In the digital age, people are increasingly swept away by the relentless stream of information. Every day, millions of news articles, images, and sounds flood the mind, gradually eroding inner stillness and focus. It is easy to be absorbed in sensational headlines, social media narratives, and virtual relationships, forgetting the present moment and losing connection with oneself. This is an alarming reality because when the mind is not at rest, one easily falls into anxiety, restlessness, and stress. Mindfulness does not mean abandoning technology or withdrawing from the world. A mindful person does not need to renounce modern life but must learn how to live in the world without being tainted by it. It is about maintaining awareness in every action, thought, and word. When using technology, a mindful person will always ask, "Is this truly necessary? Does this contribute to my practice and inner peace?" With just a little awareness, we will realize how much time in a day is wasted on meaningless activities. For instance, someone may habitually check their phone repeatedly, scrolling through updates, only to realize they never really needed to do so. Mindfulness helps break such unconscious habits, guiding us back to the present moment so that we can live more meaningfully. In the Satipatthana Sutta, Discourse on the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, the Buddha taught that a practitioner must observe four aspects: body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. By practicing mindfulness, we gain clear insight into the workings of the body and mind. When walking, we know we are walking. When breathing, we are aware of our breath. When thinking, we recognize our thoughts. Through this, we are no longer swept away by meaningless distractions. There is a story in the scriptures where a monk approached the Buddha and said, "Venerable Lord, when I sit in meditation, my mind constantly jumps around, sometimes dwelling on past events, sometimes worrying about the future. I cannot find peace in the present." The Buddha replied, "Monk, the mind of beings is like a monkey swinging from branch to branch, grasping one thing today, another tomorrow. To tame the mind, one must practice mindfulness, being fully aware of each breath, each step, each movement. When the mind ceases its wandering, you will find true peace." This story emphasizes how human nature tends to be entangled in the past and the future. The past, whether joyful or painful, cannot be changed. The future, no matter how much we worry or anticipate, remains unknown. Mindfulness is the key that brings us back to reality, freeing us from the shackles of the past and the anxieties of the future. The digital age offers countless conveniences but also unseen pitfalls. We can easily become trapped in pointless debates on social media, absorbed in negative news, or caught in cycles of envy and dissatisfaction when comparing ourselves to others online. Without mindfulness, we are vulnerable to these influences, leading to inner turmoil and distress. A mindful person will always be aware of how technology affects their mind. They will not allow themselves to be drawn into unnecessary distractions or let negative information pollute their thoughts. When browsing social media, they will pause and ask, "Does this content benefit me? Does it help me cultivate wisdom and compassion?" If the answer is no, they will let go without attachment. The Buddha once taught that the human mind is like a glass of water. When disturbed by craving and afflictions, it becomes murky and unable to reflect clearly. But when left undisturbed, the water settles, becoming clear and transparent. Mindfulness is the practice that allows the mind to settle, enabling us to see things as they truly are, free from external disturbances. Mindfulness is not something abstract or reserved only for meditation sessions. It can be practiced in every moment of daily life. When eating, be fully present with the meal, savoring each bite, and expressing gratitude for those who made the food possible. When walking, feel each step, the contact between your feet and the earth, and be aware of your presence in the moment. When working, focus completely on the task at hand, without letting the mind drift into unrelated thoughts. When speaking or listening, give your full attention, avoiding distractions like checking your phone or letting your mind wander. Every small action in daily life can become a practice of mindfulness. When we cultivate this habit daily, we will gradually experience deep peace, no longer being pulled into external chaos. 1. Inner peace. Living mindfully means we are no longer imprisoned by the past or anxious about the future. We dwell fully in the present, experiencing peace in each moment. 2. Clarity and wisdom. Mindfulness allows us to perceive things as they are, free from distortions of delusion and emotions. This enables us to make sound decisions with discernment. 3. Cultivation of compassion. When we are mindful, we become more attuned to the suffering of others, developing true compassion and a sincere desire to help. 4. Liberation from suffering. Mindfulness is the first step toward true liberation. When practiced consistently, it frees us from being entangled in greed, anger, and ignorance. Mindfulness is the key that opens the door to awakening. It helps us break free from the cycle of distractions and return to the present moment, allowing us to live a truly meaningful and fulfilling life. Meditation is the path that brings the mind back to stillness, helping one break free from the whirlpool of afflictions and suffering. When the mind is anchored in meditation, we can see deeply into the nature of things, recognize the illusions that bind us, and thereby attain true peace and liberation. In the digital age, as people are increasingly dominated by technology and the relentless busyness of modern life, meditation has become more essential than ever. It is not just a method of training the mind but also a remedy for the stress and exhaustion that modern life brings. Amidst the hurried flow of life, people are often swept away by worries, plans, and endless desires. They are constantly searching for something external to fill the void in their hearts, yet they rarely pause to look within. Meditation is the opportunity to return to oneself, to listen to the inner voice, and to understand what is truly happening in our minds. When we sit in silence, simply observing the breath as it flows in and out, we begin to notice thoughts passing by like clouds drifting across the sky. At first, the mind may be restless, and distractions may arise incessantly, but if we persist in watching without chasing after them, gradually, the mind will settle and become clearer. At that moment, we can realize that the worries and anxieties we have clung to for so long are merely fleeting shadows, without any fixed reality. Meditation helps us break free from negative thoughts and restless emotions. When we can sit still, observe our minds without being swept away by delusive ideas, and connect with the tranquility already present within, that is the most genuine form of reconnection. Not only does meditation reconnect us with ourselves, but it also allows us to perceive the world around us more fully. In the rush of life, people often look at everything superficially, rarely making real contact with the present moment. Through meditation, we learn to observe with stillness, without haste or judgment. When we meditate outdoors, we may notice the chirping of birds, the whisper of the wind through the trees, or the gentle warmth of the sun on our skin. These seemingly small things contain the wondrous essence of life, if only we open our hearts to experience them. There is a story that tells of a time when the Buddha simply held up a flower and smiled. He said nothing, but one of his disciples, Mahakassapa, immediately understood the profound meaning behind the smile. This was a silent transmission, beyond words, conveyed through deep intuitive realization. When we can touch the world with such mindfulness, when we can look at a single flower and see the miraculous life within it, then we are no longer separate from all things. In the age of technology, people are drowning in an overwhelming flood of information. Every day, thousands of news articles, images, and videos flood electronic devices, leaving the mind with no moment of rest. Information overload not only causes stress but also erodes our ability to focus and find inner peace. Through meditation, we can pause, turn off all the noise from the outside world, and listen deeply to ourselves. Spending just 10 to 15 minutes each day sitting in stillness, following the breath, allows the mind to rejuvenate and the brain to relax. Scientific studies have proven that meditation reduces stress, enhances concentration, and helps people cultivate a state of serenity in their daily lives. Those who practice meditation regularly develop better emotional regulation, experience less anxiety, and lead more balanced lives compared to those who do not meditate. Meditation is not confined to sitting in one place, it can be applied to all daily activities. Here are some simple ways to practice meditation that anyone can incorporate into their life. 1. Breath meditation. Each day, take a few minutes to sit still and focus on your breath. Inhaling, know that you are inhaling. Exhaling, know that you are exhaling. Just this simple awareness can bring greater peace to the mind. 2. Walking meditation. When walking, bring full attention to each step, feeling the contact between your feet and the ground. Walk slowly, at ease, without rushing. 3. Meditation in work. Whatever task you are engaged in, focus entirely on it, without allowing the mind to be distracted by unrelated thoughts. 4. Relaxation meditation. Set aside time each day to completely relax the body, let go of all thoughts, and simply lie down in stillness. 5. Listening meditation. When conversing with someone, listen with full presence, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Meditation is not something distant or mystical, it is a practical method that can be integrated into everyday life. With persistence and diligence, we can gradually experience profound tranquility and clarity from within. Beyond its psychological benefits, meditation is the gateway to enlightenment. The Buddha attained supreme awakening under the Bodhi tree through deep meditative insight. By contemplating the nature of all phenomena, he clearly saw impermanence and non-self, thus transcending the cycle of birth and death. If one dedicates time to meditation each day, if one consistently returns to the present moment, little by little, afflictions will be transformed, delusive thoughts will dissolve, and the light of wisdom will naturally shine forth. Meditation is not a way to escape from the world, but rather a path to living more deeply, to understanding oneself and reality more fully. When the mind is still, when wisdom is clear, we can lead a truly meaningful life, no longer swept away by unnecessary anxieties and sorrows. Meditation is the key that unlocks the door to peace and wisdom. It is the path that reconnects us with ourselves, with the world around us, and ultimately, with the highest truth. Limits and freedom may seem like opposing concepts at first glance. When we think of limits, we often associate them with restrictions and confinement, whereas freedom is something we all desire, breaking free from all constraints. However, in the teachings of the Buddha, limits are not meant to be oppressive, rather, they serve as a means to attain true freedom. When applied to daily life, particularly in the digital age, setting limits is not about losing freedom but about preventing ourselves from becoming dependent, from being swept away by the temptations of the virtual world. Without reasonable limits, our minds can easily become restless and entangled in an endless stream of information, leading to anxiety, worry, and even a loss of control over our own lives. In Buddhist teachings, sila, moral discipline, is one of the essential foundations for liberation. Precepts are not rigid prohibitions but guiding principles that help us live mindfully, allowing us to discern what leads to suffering and what brings peace. For example, the 5 precepts refraining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicants are not harsh rules imposed from above. Instead, they are guidelines that help us live harmoniously, preventing unnecessary suffering for ourselves and others. When we establish mindful limits for ourselves, we avoid situations that disturb our inner peace and prevent us from falling into attachments that harm our well-being. In the digital age, limits play a similar role. Without mindful control over our use of social media, smartphones, or digital devices, we can easily become enslaved by them, trapped in a cycle of distraction and disconnection from reality. By setting boundaries, we are not rejecting technology but learning to use it wisely, with awareness and discernment. For instance, if we establish a rule of not using our phones during meals, we allow ourselves the opportunity to truly experience the taste of food and cherish the presence of our loved ones. If we refrain from using our devices before sleep, our minds can rest without being disturbed by the endless influx of information. If we dedicate a portion of our day to turning off all electronic devices, we create space to return to ourselves, to listen to our breath, and to observe the thoughts arising within our hearts. Many people believe that freedom means doing whatever one wants without restraint. But in reality, an unrestrained mind is not free, it is enslaved. When someone is addicted to social media, compulsively checking their phone, mindlessly scrolling through endless news feeds and videos, are they truly free? The Buddha once taught that suffering arises from attachment to things we mistakenly believe will bring us happiness. When our minds are bound by technology and media, we lose our ability to govern ourselves, to decide what is truly important in our lives. True freedom is not the ability to do anything we desire, it is the ability to master what we do. When we set limits on our use of technology, we cultivate self-discipline, preventing ourselves from being carried away by distractions and external stimuli. There is a story about a man who once asked the Buddha, "Blessed One, why do I feel so restless, burdened with suffering, unable to find the freedom I long for?" The Buddha replied, "When a person clutches a burning coal in their hand, are they free?" The man pondered for a moment and answered, "No, Blessed One. If I hold on to burning coal, I will get burned." The Buddha nodded, "Indeed. People cling to so many things they believe will bring happiness, yet in truth, these things only cause suffering. When they learn to let go, their minds are liberated, and that is true freedom." Technology, when used mindfully, can be a tool for connection, learning, and growth. But without awareness, it can become the very burning coal we clutch, exhausting and overwhelming us without our realizing it. Setting limits is not about depriving ourselves but about ensuring we are not consumed by the very things we create. To maintain balance between technology and spiritual well-being, we can adopt the following practices. 1. No phones during meals. Treat each meal as an opportunity for mindfulness, to fully taste the food, to listen, and to engage in meaningful conversations with those around us. 2. No screens before bed. Instead of spending hours scrolling through social media before sleeping, dedicate time to reading a passage from sacred texts, meditating, or simply breathing deeply to relax the mind. 3. At least 30 minutes a day without electronic devices. Use this time to connect with nature, take a mindful walk, meditate, or simply sit in silence without digital distractions. 4. Limit social media usage. Set specific times to check social media, rather than habitually opening the phone whenever idle. 5. practice mindfulness when using technology. Before unlocking your phone, ask yourself, do I truly need to do this right now? Use technology with awareness, ensuring it serves your well-being rather than controlling you. When we use technology with mindfulness and moderation, we are not enslaved by it. Instead, we transform it into a tool that supports our spiritual journey. Limits are not obstacles to freedom, rather, they are the very means by which we attain true freedom, the freedom of a mind unburdened, undistracted, and no longer caught in the endless currents of the world. The journey to find balance between digital life and spiritual life, like any other path in the Dharma, is one filled with challenges yet deeply meaningful. In today's technological era, people live in an environment saturated with information and instant connectivity. Paradoxically, however, they are more prone to loneliness, confusion, and disconnection from reality. Mastering technology so that it does not control us requires deep mindfulness and consistent practice to avoid being swept away by the illusions of the digital world. Many people, when thinking about balancing technology and spirituality, immediately consider abandoning electronic devices, distancing themselves from the modern world, and retreating to a quiet place for meditation and practice. However, Buddhism does not teach us to escape life, but rather to live within it without being consumed by it. The Buddha did not reject worldly life, instead, he saw through its true nature. He lived in the world without letting the world bind his heart. Likewise, practitioners in the digital age do not need to completely sever their ties with technology, rather, they must learn to use it as a tool for cultivating goodness, for living meaningfully, and for helping others do the same. Technology itself is not to blame, the issue lies in how we use it. If we can use technology as a tool for learning, for spreading the Dharma, and for consciously connecting with our loved ones, then it becomes a force for good. But if we allow technology to manipulate our minds, leading us away from reality, then it turns into a dangerous trap. Buddhism teaches that true happiness does not come from external sources but from within. A person may own the latest devices and be connected to the entire world with a single click, yet still feel empty and lost. Meanwhile, another person who lives simply, cherishes each moment, and remains connected with their inner self may experience deep peace and joy, even with the bare minimum of material comforts. Technology offers convenience, but it also creates an illusion of happiness. Today, people easily fall into the belief that having more likes, followers, or online attention will bring them happiness. But in truth, such things are fleeting like a mirage in the desert. Happiness does not come from the number of notifications on a phone screen, it comes from the peace of the heart. Happiness is not found in knowing more and more about the outside world, but in understanding oneself, knowing what one truly needs and where one is truly headed. To prevent technology from overwhelming our inner life, we must practice mindfulness in using digital devices. Each time we pick up our phone, we should ask ourselves, what am I doing this for? Is it truly necessary? If we find that we are reaching for our phone out of mere habit, then we should pause, take a deep breath, and bring our awareness back to the present moment. It is helpful to establish mindful principles for ourselves, set time limits for social media use. Do not let social media control your mind, instead, use it purposefully when it serves a real need. Dedicate moments of stillness each day. This could be 10 to 15 minutes of meditation in the morning or simply a short period of time without digital distractions, sitting quietly and listening to your breath. Genuinely connect with the people around you. Instead of scrolling through your phone while sitting with family or friends, be present and fully engaged in the conversation. Avoid using your phone before bedtime. This allows the mind to relax and avoids unnecessary stimulation from endless streams of information. Practicing these habits is not about rejecting technology, but about using it wisely and mindfully. When our mind is awake and aware, we are not led by technology, we become its master. The Buddha once taught, just as a lotus rises from the mud without being tainted by it, a true practitioner must live in the world without being bound by it. The digital age is not an obstacle but an opportunity for practicing mindfulness. If we learn to use technology wisely, it can help us expand our wisdom, deepen our spiritual life, and spread positive values. However, without mindfulness, we risk being controlled by technology, becoming slaves to the very things we create. The journey to balance between digital life and spiritual life is not a destination but an ongoing practice. Each day, we have the opportunity to adjust, to bring our mind back to the present, and to choose a way of living that is not swept away by worldly illusions. When we do so, we will find true peace, a peace that does not depend on technology, on the external world, but arises from within our own heart. In the digital age, mindfulness is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. Without mindfulness, we can easily be swept away by endless waves of information, constant stimulation from social media, and the insatiable desires that technology feeds. But if we know how to cultivate awareness, if we set necessary boundaries, we can harness technology as a beneficial tool rather than allowing it to dictate our lives. Mindfulness does not mean rejecting technology, it means using it with awareness. Each time we use our phones or computers, we should pause for a moment and ask ourselves, what am I doing? Is this truly necessary? Is it bringing me benefit, or is it simply pulling me into distraction? These simple questions can help us avoid the unconscious pull of technology. Additionally, meditation is a powerful practice that helps maintain inner peace in a constantly changing world. Through meditation, we learn to return to our breath, to let go of wandering thoughts, and to listen to our inner self rather than being carried away by external noise. By dedicating even a small part of each day to meditation, we can create a space of stillness amid life's fast-paced rhythm. Reflecting on the Buddha's teachings, we see that suffering does not come from technology or anything external, but from our own attachments and lack of mindfulness. If we allow technology to control us, we will become trapped. But if we use it with wisdom and awareness, then regardless of our circumstances, we can live with peace and joy. The journey to reclaim balance in modern life is not easy, but it is essential if we seek true well-being. And on this journey, the Dharma serves as a guiding light, helping us navigate through an ever-changing world without losing our way.